After 8 days of exploring Alaska, our family of 3 was falling even deeper in love with this magical place. While we had seen a lot of incredible places during our first visit in 2018, this trip was a bit different, as we were getting creative and branching out from our typical four-wheel drive travel. Our biggest goal for this trip was to experience Alaska from some new perspectives, and today we had plans to do just that. Good morning, Carol.
Good morning.
What are we doing today?
We're going kayaking to the glacier.
Woo! I'm so excited. Good morning.
Good morning.
How'd you sleep?
I slept okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, just a little restless, but
Ready
fine.
to go? Ready to keep going?
That's what it is.
Yeah. I swear though, this daylight just
It's
keeps you
killer.
going. It keeps you turbocharged, you know? You get a few hours of sleep and it's like, all right, let's do this.
Well, and it's like, you know you're exhausted because your eyeballs burn, but at the same time, like, it's really hard to unwind for bedtime. We're only here for a little while. Got to get the, what's that saying? Got to get the good while the going's hot.
Make hay while the sun shines.
No, not that one.
Let's get some coffee in us and try again.
Yeah.
Get while the getting's good.
Yeah, I think that's the one I was thinking
Okay.
of. There we go. We'll get there eventually.
With a big day ahead, we made sure we had plenty of fuel for our paddle-driven adventure with some link sausage, juicy mango, piping hot coffee, and our decadent leftovers from the previous day's donut stop at the infamous Moose's Loose. I'm guessing that should do the trick. Oh my goodness. After an impressively quick pack down of the iCamper tent, which by the way, we're starting to love, we hit the road for our first big kayaking challenge. But, ever the sucker for a good trail, we had to take the long way there and put our rental 4Runner and trailer to good use. Now, most rental car businesses in Alaska do not allow any off-pavement travel, but thankfully, Alaska Overlander was only too glad to toss us the keys to this setup, with the only stipulation being to put it through its paces and have a great time. Which is a good thing, considering we applied our fair share of scratches, or what we like to call storylines, to the side of this machine. If you're cringing now, just remember that scratches can always be buffed out, but memories of epic backcountry travel lasts a lifetime. We've been nothing but impressed with this Overland rig and its included camping gear for this ride through Alaska. So stay tuned to this channel for a practical walkthrough of how easy your own Alaskan Overland experience can be without having to drive your rig all the way here.
Tunnel.
Man cave! Ready? Let's go. With rain threatening to cut loose at any minute, we geared up and began the short hike down to the water's edge. And speaking of fresh perspectives, it was super helpful to have a new camera person along for this ride to capture some of the story from her own viewpoint.
Ready?
Ready? With our kayaks, provisions, emergency comms, and cameras hauled into place, it was finally time for us to explore Portage Glacier. Oh, and side note, if you're wondering where my life jacket is, I had to place it behind me since the rental company took me for a much smaller man. So, pro tip, make sure you test fit your life jackets before driving hours away from civilization. Push off.
Good one, Mom.
Thank you. I'm always surprised at how close I feel to the water.
Welcome to Portage Lake. If we had shown up here just over 100 years ago, there wouldn't be any water to paddle through, since Portage Glacier extended the length of this 14-mile-long valley and filled the 300-foot deep lake with ancient snows, compacted into vibrant sky blue ice. As we paddled along, we passed several icebergs set free from the calving glacier at the other end of the lake, though we generally gave them a bit of space, since these chunks of ice have been known to roll over once the lower portion melts and changes its center of gravity. While we had heard that there were waterfalls along this route, we were not expecting them to be so massive, and we were simply amazed at the sheer height and beauty of these falls.
Can you do that again, Dad? Okay.
After 2 hours of leisurely paddling and admiring the many waterfalls, Portage Glacier finally came into view. Being new to this type of activity, our arms and backs were ready for a rest, so we took the opportunity to have a picnic while watching to see if the glacier would calve while we took in the view. Sitting here, it's hard to fathom how not so long ago there were several hundred feet of ice overhead upon which natives, early Russian explorers, and eventually gold prospectors traversed while making their way from Prince William Sound across Portage Pass to the Alaskan interior. During the height of the gold rush, there would have been tens, if not hundreds of men scrambling overhead on the now melted glacier to move their equipment and provisions towards the gold fields. But today, we share this peaceful lunch spot with majestic eagles and a lone black bear browsing for berries on a distant hillside. In all of our travels, we like to consider those who blazed these trails long before our modern-day adventures, just to put things into perspective. It's incredible to consider what life must have been like back then, how unforgiving travel must have been, and how much the landscape has changed over time. With our bellies full of cold turkey wraps, veggies, and a few all-natural puffed Cheetos, it was time to ease our way a bit closer to the glacier itself. We took care to avoid the toe of the glacier, which at any time could unleash a massive chunk of ice into the lake and turn our calm kayaking into more of a surfing attempt from the huge waves they've been known to create. Instead, we positioned ourselves with a spit of land between us and the splash zone as we carefully skirted the shore looking for a place to disembark and explore the more stable areas around this massive glacier.
I'll pull these guys up. That feels like ice.
With our curiosity more than satisfied and minds thoroughly blown, it was time to make the 3-mile paddle back. But not before visiting the waterfalls one more time. Here's your chance. Alaska had yet again taken our breath away from a whole new perspective, and we were humbled to have the opportunity to see some of her splendor up close and personal. Join us again next week as we continue to explore Alaska from even more new vantage points and experience just a bit more of this expansive North Country. And if you've enjoyed our stories and want to help fuel this adventure, then please consider joining us on patreon.com/lifestyleoverland. It is our patrons who make all of this possible, and we would love to have you as part of our community of supporters. In appreciation of our support family, we share exclusive videos, epic campsites, merch discounts, and a whole lot more. Patrons, we can't thank you enough for what you do to keep the wheels turning, and in this case, paddles churning. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts for all you do. All right, well, it's been another long, incredible day. What a gorgeous ride. You ladies like that paddling trip?
Yeah.
I think we have a new hobby on the horizon, but now we're heading back to camp. It's 10 o'clock p.m. We got to be back up bright and early for our salmon/trout fishing trip. So let's get some sleep.
What you're trying to say is that we're waking up at 5.
Pretty much. It'll be an early start.
Yeah.
Until next time, stay curious.